Welcome to the KPLE-TV Veterans Resources Show. I'm your host, William Gibson, aka Gibby. If you're a veteran, you understand the military takes your last name and crushes it. If it's Jones or Johnson, you end up Jonesy. If it's Gibson, you end up Gibby. My father was Gibby in the Air Force, I was Gibby in the Army, my son was Gibby in the Marines, so Gibby. Each week we bring you clear and trusted information on the local, state, and national resources available to veterans and their families. This is our goal and our mission. Today's episode is all about supporting veterans through local community programs and how organizations like the Combat Veterans and the Harley-Davidson dealerships help veterans stay connected, informed, and supported. Joining us today is Joe Lipp from the Horny Toad Harley-Davidson dealership in Texas, here to share insight into the services offered, ways to get involved, and the real impact they're making in our community. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Thank you.
Joe, tell us a little bit about what you got kicking down at the dealership that's helping veterans and their families and the caregivers in the community.
So we host a Veterans Assistance Day twice a year, once in May on Armed Forces Day and then again in November. And it is a one-stop shop for veterans, spouses of veterans, or people that deal with veterans that come in to get information on a wide gamut of information, wide gamut of topics. Everything from on-site VA claims from the VA itself, disabled veterans, disabled American veterans come in, the Bell County Veterans Services come in. So we'll be able to process claims themselves, get information on updating claims, as well as suicide prevention, mental health, peer networking, peer mentoring, job placement. We also bring in veterans that own businesses, represent businesses, or their spouses to be able to give them more exposure in what they're trying to do.
And when did you say is the next one coming up?
Next one coming up, I believe, is going to be November 15th.
Give us a little example of who might be there in a booth sharing information, like?
So I have, again, several departments from the VA come in to discuss VA claims, benefits, education. I bring in peer networking, military peer networking, to be able to give options for different things for people to be able to deal with what they have going on. Everything from equestrian therapy for veterans to beekeeping. We were supposed to have beekeepers at the last one, they had to back out at the last minute. To companies that offer financial information, banks that offer certain things for veterans, everything like that. The last Veterans Assistance Day we had, we covered 35 tables. 35 tables? Is that about average usually?
That's probably the biggest one that we've done so far, but it keeps growing. That's excellent, man. How'd you get involved in this? How did you get involved in this? Was it a tag you're it, or was it? So this was something, the first one of these that I've ever done or saw was at another dealership prior to my retiring in 2018. I walked in, they were there, and there were some people from the VA, and I asked about my benefits and what the status of my ratings was going to be when I got out of the military. In 2019, I started at Horny Toad Harley-Davidson, and that May I believe it was that May we did our first Veterans Assistance Day as a combination of an event for the store, something to be able to help veterans, and something to help get the Combat Vets Motorcycle Association a little more public exposure into the local area. So how many entities or POCs do you got on that list? I got a list, and I'll tell you where I got it in a minute. But so I believe the last count we had was about 75 different contacts that we had that we reached out to try to bring in. Man, I got to tell you, when this first came up and I was talking to the KPLE people about doing this, I was like, okay, this couldn't be too hard to reach out and get some, so I got a total of 5. And I was telling my daughter about it, and she works at Harley's, Rosa. I was telling her about it, and she said, "Did you talk to Joe?" I go, "No, why?" She said, "Because he's been doing this for this long, and he's got a couple POCs you might want to get with him." So I rode down there. I said, "Joe," I said, "this is what I'm thinking. Let me brainstorm with you." And you go, this is what he did. He goes, "Hang on a minute." Turns around to his computer and goes, hits print, and he pulls out this list. And he goes, "You might want to reach out to some of these people." And I was like, This is exactly what, you've done all the legwork and everything already. And I'm sure you've vetted all those people already too.
The last one we did, I actually had a lot of help from the outreach program at the VA, and she probably brought in another 10 or 15 tables to this last event.
Man. I looked at that list. Of course, the one he gave me, I had to use a magnifying glass because he had it all chopped down real small. But I see people there to help you with your VA claims, counseling, jobs and job placement, financials, home buying, and support groups. You mentioned that one with the beekeeping. When I was looking into this, I went up on Post and I talked to those people, and they brought up the beekeeping, so I tried to look at it and see what it was about. And they said that's to help people with PTSD?
So it's Hives for Heroes. I don't have all the information on it, but they are another way for veterans to be able to socialize through beekeeping, to be able to give them something to concentrate on and to be able to not just sit at the house and kind of get involved with different things.
Socializing. Why is socializing so important, especially for veterans and their families? Why is that so important?
Throughout your military career, everything has been a team.
Yes, yes.
From the day you walk into the military, you've got a battle buddy, and you're responsible for your battle buddy. And then as you grow through the military, as you go up through the ranks, you have a squad, a platoon, a company, whatever it is, and you always have that team. When people get out of the military, they lose that team, they lose that structure, they lose that point to complete a mission. And this gives somebody that drive to go back after something, whether it's the beekeeping and whether it's the equestrian therapy, getting involved, getting off the couch, getting out and doing something in the community, whether it's for yourself or for somebody else.
That's excellent. How does one get on this list? I'm guessing you don't just show up with a table and say, here I am.
So I put out, as I reach out to anybody that's that wants to set up a table at this event. They can reach me at the store, 254-743-7200 rings the main line at the store. They can ask for Joe, they can ask for Thumbs, which is my road name.
What is it?
Thumbs.
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 Okay.
They can ask for the fat bearded bald guy or ask about the Veterans Assistance Day. It will all get to me.
Excellent.
And then I don't charge anybody to come out for this. This is solely for people to come out and get information. So anything I can put in front of veterans to be able to come in and do this.
Yes, yes. What about, how much does it cost to get in?
It's free. Everything on this is free.
I don't see any downside on anything of this.
No. And we'll usually bring in a couple hundred veterans at each event, whether they're just looking for VA claims, they're there with all their medical records to be able to get the claims going, to be able to get information on benefits from the VA, to see what, I bring in a couple colleges to offer for their veterans programs, GI Bills, stuff like that. So there's anything you can think of, I probably have something that's close to it.
Excellent. What about for veterans that haven't got out yet, but they're getting ready to?
So I invite active duty military out all the time. Whenever I see active duty come in or I'm around anybody that's active duty, I tell them to have their ETSing soldiers come to this, because there's a lot of really good information for soldiers to get to, so that way they have something to base off when they do leave the military.
Because I know a lot of time, all a veteran can think about is getting out. He's not thinking about the next step.
Right.
And then he gets out and he's lost because he doesn't have the camaraderie and the group and everything you were just talking about. And then he starts getting depressed. So.
And one thing in this last event that I did showed that I had a lot of the vendors themselves come in and how much they appreciated just being able to be around other veterans, so that way they could network.
Yes.
And they had points of contact, so if somebody came to them with a certain thing that they might not be able to necessarily help with, they knew somebody else that they could get them to.
Excellent. So this POC list, what's the chances of me getting a scrubbed version of it to put on the Veterans Resources website here?
We'll get something out to you.
Excellent. And then we can hang it on this one and maybe even push it to the VA maybe. I mean, one thing I wanted to do was, there's so many stovepipes out there. I was looking for something that would bring, and you've already got it, man. You got, what'd you say, 70-something point of contacts on there?
I believe so, yeah.
I gotta tell you, when I went over and talked to him about this, and he typed that up, all I was thinking was, this is too easy on my part now. He's already did it. God's already orchestrated it. So the first thing I said was, Joe, you want to be on the show? And he goes, okay. What do you want to tell the veterans out there?
That there's always somebody there, whether it's directly, indirectly. There's people that want to help, that want to be able to make sure that you succeed to the best of your ability and their abilities.
Excellent. What about the family members? Because I don't want to say that sometimes veterans need a push, because that's the wrong thing to say. But sometimes they need a nudge or a hand up, you know. So what do you want to say to the family members?
Again, that there's somebody there. There's somebody that's been through that understands it. One thing with the veterans is that we've always been told, suck it up, drive on.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point in time, you've got to understand that it's okay to ask for help.
Yes.
And that's the same for the families.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us today, Joe. I mean that, I really do. Thank you for everything you do with the combat vets and with the Horny Toad Harley-Davidson dealership that supports our veterans and their family members. Well, this wraps up today's episode of the Veteran Resource Show. I'm Gibby Gibson. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay informed, stay connected, and we'll see you next time.